Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to this price ladder debrief. It is Wednesday the 9th of May. I hope we've all had a good day's trading. Before I start the debrief, just apologies for any background noise you may hear while I'm talking. We're currently having some work done in the office. But other than that, let's get straight on into it. Today I'm going to be bringing you something slightly different in terms of the market. I am going to be bringing you a oil trade, specifically over the oil inventories number that comes out every Wednesday. It's a trade that I sort of look for only over this figure, and I don't really look for at any other time in this market. But it is a reversal and momentum trade we're going to be looking for today, guys. And yeah, it's just quite a nice trade that I like looking for, and it's quite a reoccurring trade that happens. So let's get straight into the structure of it. So basically, this is a 1 minute oil chart. 1 minute oil chart here. Apologies for the scribble. And basically, the figure came out as a miss in the draw. It was expected a bigger draw. And as a result, we have this sharp shank in the oil. And what I'm not going to show you, as it's going to take too much time, but what I'm going to show you is the price action in here. Originally, there was a lot of size being hit into the bid, and it was no kind of follow through. And the sort of insight that I get when you're seeing this on the price ladder, when I kind of combine it with a few things to kind of give you a hint as to when this trade is going to work. So first of all, you're getting all this size smacked into the bid, and you're getting this decrease in the volume on the 1 minute chart as we make, and continuously higher lows sort of thing. So as we keep testing lower volume, so this divergence in volume and price, and then we get this sort of sharp reversal and then pull back again, and then you kind of, the minute we take the low, we get a massive spike up in price, and then a spike in the volume here again. So these are the kind of red flags that I look for in terms of the reversal trade that I look for. And basically the reversal trade is that, although it doesn't do it perfectly in this sense, the idea is that this whole move should be reversed, and that this open here should trade through, and usually you can get quite a nice flurry of stops through here. I mean, you get some stops in through here and through these kind of swings and this swing area here, but the actual trade that I look for is kind of to take the open and get that final flurry up. But yeah, I mean, just with and a few other things in terms of the structure of this, oil had been selling off all day into this number. And once we'd obviously had a really passive buyer in here, sort of soaking up any liquidity that was he could get at lower prices, and then sort of driving it higher once he was filled. I mean, don't get me wrong, you had to take this trade a couple of times. I mean, I got long in here, I took a loser and I added. I got long again in here, took a loser when I added, and then I finally got long again in here, and then I added through these swings here. And as you can see, I want to show you how the price action really changes in here, and how, as long as this kind of, you have some sort of firm low put in, and then you have like a successive higher low, sorry, this trade is still on really. Like this, if you think of it in any term of, in any other type of market you trade, in terms of this being a, can I erase? I can't erase the ink on the slide. So you think of this in just terms of being a vacuum. So this is just shanked, and then we now have this kind of distribution in here that we've traded out. Whereas in here, this is all kind of empty space to be filled through and attacked. So I just want to show you guys how this trade can be attacked really well, and how you can get really aggressive through here. And don't get me wrong, when the trade's really on, when you can kind of smash through these higher prices, it's when the best trade is on. But other than that, guys, let's get into the ladder. So like I said, it's a reversal momentum play, which I only look for over the oil inventories number, guys. I don't look for this trade in any other kind of situation. Like I say here, it's the inventories reversal trade. It is a momentum trade in the sense that you're kind of looking for, you're looking for follow through, you're looking for punch in the price action. You don't want to see it stalling. You don't want to see any kind of slowdown in price action at the extremes of the distribution. And like I say, it's a high volatility kind of condition you're looking for, which you usually always get over these numbers. I usually have very tight risk on here, but kind of with the oil, you have to kind of let it thrash around a little bit sometimes, especially on this number. And like I showed you in the chart, guys, the number of times where I took losers and had to get back in again, and then let me just go. I had to get back in again and sort of like down in here, and kept buying and buying and buying. But just the key levels I want you guys to look for is through these 60s here. So we had these swings in here. So we had this poke up, we had this spike, which was the 70s, and then we had the smaller swings down at 60s. So I just wanted to kind of, those are the two areas that I look at, and this is how I use the 1 minute, how I map out my 1 minute in terms of attacking the structure, sort of kind of always understanding how we trade up to it. So like I said, we've just made that higher low now after testing down 3 times, and now we've had that passive buyer still soaking up down the lower prices and sort of now pushing it higher. So the 60s was that sort of the smaller swing area we were looking at, with there was a couple spikes into it, and then we had the 70s where the real kind of flurry of where you can really attack through if the price action is there. So all I'm doing here at the moment, I'm just kind of observing the price action. I'm not really looking to attack it in here. There's, for me, this could just roll over again and take the low out. So for me, I want to see it kind of at least trade up towards 60s. I mean, maybe interested in buying 7s, 8s, 9s. But for now, I'm just kind of looking at how the price action is in here. So with I want to see just kind of, I want to see absorption, and then like with the oil, it kind of just blocks up. So if I'm seeing clips in and then and clips up, so like we're saying there, we've just seen someone reload again. So someone's just reloaded and lifted about 200 contracts over 3 prices. So you kind of always looking, you've got this 100 lots sitting at 51s. And you're seeing a lot of size trade into the bid. So you just saw another 50 lots trade into 54s, another 64 lots into 53s, and then 53 lots lifted 54s, and he takes 85 lots, lifts 55 at 55, reloads the bid again, lifts 56, clips 57. So for me, I'm kind of understanding there's a bit of a buy here between 3s and 5s at the moment. So I mean, I'm not going to kind of look to get long in front of this guy right away, because as you see, it's still kind of thrashing around, kind of distributing. But between 3s and 5s, there seems to be a sort of passive buyer being held up by this 100 lot, held up by this, another 100 lot down here. And we're kind of just, you see again, another 100 lots trade into 54s now, 126 lots trade into 54s, reloads the bid again. Another 133 lots trade into 53s, reloads the bid again. So, like we're saying, guys, I'm kind of feeling there's some sort of passive buy in there. Now we're sort of seeing it block up again. We're seeing the bid go even thicker now. So we've got 300 lots distributed, 250 lots distributed over 2 prices. And now we're seeing this reloader step up at 7s again. So for me, once you want to see, so as long as you see these larger clips and the reloading come in, so you just saw someone lift 107 lots, reload 6s, and then, so I'm willing to lift 7s and 8s now, if it gets really aggressive at higher prices. So we're seeing 50 lots trade into 7s, and then another 50 lots lift 8s, so I'm happy to pay 8 7s now. You see 120 lots trade into 9s, and bear in mind, guys, this level is at 60, right? So we're seeing now 100 lots trade into 60, 50 lots hit into 61s, and then reload the bid. You're seeing size clip down into 2s, lift 3s straight away, I'm happy to see this kind of wash down back to sort of 57s, 57, 56s, where the top of that distribution was, where the passive buyer stepped in. But just notice, guys, that once the price action kind of goes, it's very hard to sort of attack it, the way it trades through the stops. So that next level we were looking for was through 70s, and where we're kind of expecting a potential for sort of real follow through. So we're kind of seeing the passive buyer still sitting reloading. See 200 lots just lift 59s and then reload the bid with 140 lots on the bid now. So you're kind of feeling this price action sort of, we're now accumulating at higher prices, we're reloading at higher prices. 122 lots trade 62s, reloads the bid, and now we're seeing this sort of aggressive buyer lifting at higher prices now again. So anything over 62s now, you're sort of seeing that punch. You're seeing now the 100 lots chase it up at 62s, clip down to 3s. You see, it's still reloading 62s and lifting 6s. And as you see now, the price action starts to pick up. And through here, guys, I've got some covering some above 70s, and then on the initial, in case we get a kind of flick up and then shank. But as you see, we're kind of accumulating, and then we just sort of, once we can't take out those 70s, we sort of, we explode. We had the open was around 90s, I think? No. 48 something, I think the open was at. And as you see here, we just start to really thrash around, and for me, this kind of price action is, we finished there, sorry. But basically, on the chart, if we go back, you kind of just see just a flurry of clips back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We had the open at 98. and we got up to, where did we get up to? We got up to around 90s, and then you kind of see once it starts to thrash around like that, and just kind of you see huge clips whacking back and forth, and there's no sort of accumulation or holding of the trade. That's when I kind of look to sort of not panic and get out, but you can cover your size, and then if it starts to like how I was explaining to you guys in here, I'm happy to kind of start looking to get long around the 57s, 58s. If it starts to then just explode up to 98s, you can kind of look, attack through this high again, sort of thing, With the whole point of this trade is that if it's going to go, it's going to go, sort of thing. It's not going to, once it starts to just thrash around and smack huge clips back and forth, and there's no real kind of clear price action in that sense. For me, I can actually kind of understand this in here. I mean, it's still quite fast, and I mean, you guys may have to rewatch the video to actually understand what I'm saying. Lifting and reloading, and understanding how I'm interpreting it. But there is price action in here. I feel I can really pick apart. Whereas in there, it just kind of has that exhaustion almost thing. You have this big spike in volume again, and this volume should increase. Really, it shouldn't. The next bar shouldn't be this much lower than the kind of the stop out bar, if you see what I mean. This shouldn't really be the stop out bar. The stop out bar should be somewhere up here, if it's the trade that we're expecting, and it should be a real flurry sort of thing. It should sort of be the size of this bar, is almost as big as the actual initial one down. But pardon me. But yeah, guys. Other than that, I thought it'd be good to change it up and bring you something a bit different, especially with the Bund at the moment not being the most momentum-driven market. I feel this is quite a nice market to have a look at on a Wednesday when the inventory numbers come out. I feel there's a lot of good trades that you can take and really attack with size. But other than that, guys, I hope you found that useful in some way. Feel free to contact us via any of our social media platforms. I will be back next week with another price ladder debrief. Other than that, guys, I hope you all have a really good evening, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. Take it easy.